which I continuously say is the greatest power in Eastern Central. And I will continue to say that until I leave Mombasa Station. I recognize the presence of Senator Faki. I do recognize the presence of the clergy. Our Kadi is here. I also recognize the presence of our staff and all those who are watching us virtually, all the court users. If you look at what we have, we've come, these are submissions from the judiciary, but you'll reckon from what we have is that already the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya has spoken to us. We don't have the Principal Judge of the High Court. We don't have the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary. So immediately I make my submissions, I will hand over to the presiding judge for the next phase, and then we'll come to conclusion. But before we come to conclude this special session, the Honorable, the presiding judge, will be giving out some Oscars for those who have worked tirelessly during this period. So I proceed for purposes of record to make my presentation in my position as the head of station Mombasa and challenge. I'm also informed Eldoret Court, they are also going through this phase. I'm also informed that we have issues with Corona in Rongo Court. So from this forum, we are with you Makadara Court, we are with you Eldoret Court, we are with you Rongo Court, and standing here as a very experienced judicial officer and magistrate, I'll seek to encourage all of us, wherever you are, let's stand tall, let's keep working, let's have the wheels of justice rolling. On the 13th of March 2020, Kenya declared its first coronavirus case. What heralded thereafter were several containment measures which affected all the institutions and the departments in government, including the judiciary itself. The judiciary, through the National Council on the Administration of Justice, issued administrative measures to combat the spread of the virus within the justice sector. During this time, courts were ordered as much as possible to use virtual platforms in conducting their proceedings. The containment measures have led to accumulated cases in our court system. The judiciary, in conjunction with the National Council on the Administration of Justice, directed that from the 16th of June 2020, courts were to upscale, but under strict observance of the MOH guidelines. For Mombasa Court, one of the MOH guidelines demanded that all our staff were to be tested for COVID-19. In fact, I can vividly, I know that is regulation number 20. It said that before I upscaled, I had to do a test for all the staff. The exercise was conducted between 16th to 18th of June 2020. On the 19th of June 2020, 11 of our staff were declared COVID positive. I can assure you, when they were given those results, it was not very enjoyable, and as the head of station, I was quite down. The Honorable the Chief Justice, in consultation with the CS Health, ordered the physical closure of Mombasa Court. All the court staff were ordered quarantined for 14 days. On the 6th of July 2020, the court reopened and still remains open, but with the strict observance of the MOH guidelines which have been put in place. Today, we gather to thank the Almighty God that none of our staff now nor any of our court users has been declared missing during this period. All are back to work, and they are physically fit and are with us. We thank God for that. But for purposes of record, Honorable the Presiding Judge, I want the following to go on record as the head of station Mombasa. As we upscale the court operations at the Mombasa Law Courts, the following key points have to be stressed. Point number one, whereas all the MOH guidelines have been put in place, there will be need that all those approaching court do so by the MOH recommendations as to social distancing, as to sanitizing, as to wearing masks, and strictly follow the protocols put in place and as directed by the court officials. I will seek to ask our court users to kindly bear with us on that one. Point number two, physical appearance in court will be allowed in accordance with the numbers. The MOH has given the numbers, how many people can access open court, how many people can access chambers, how many people can access the open areas. So you will be guided. If we start physical opening of the court, each court has a number. So we wish to seek your cooperation on this one. I'll also state that there will be strict vetting procedures, which we put strict vetting procedures in place on how you will access the court. We also urge the court users to comply. At this point, I will wish to say that the guidelines crafted and put in place by the court users committees that were appointed under your guidance, Honorable Presiding Judge, that is the Sanitary Committee, the Civil Committee, and the Criminal Committee, those guidelines which were crafted will have also to be observed as we move forward, because from those guidelines we can see there was a lot of organization. These committees, I will state, will remain active during this pandemic period, and if new issues arise, we will improve on those recommendations. Mombasa Court will wish to thank all the members who were involved in crafting those guidelines. You know yourselves. Thank you so much for the work which you did. As Commissioner Masideche has said this morning, leaders for sure emerge during crisis. I'm happy to report, and this one I will echo, Chairman of Chairman, Nyabena, that we have now new leaders who have emerged. The ICT has emerged as a great leader. And at this point in time, I will also sincerely wish to thank Collins Ayodo and the team for the good work which they've done during this period. Asante sana Collins, asante sana Koros, where are you? Team ICT Mombasa. Asante sana, yes, Koros is here. And Kwamboka, I'm telling you, these are wonderful people. And if there were medals to be given out there, I will declare a medal on behalf of Mombasa Court. Thank you so much for that. The ICT committee has enabled now Mombasa Court to have virtual courts during this period. All judicial officers have laptops and have been trained to attend and preside in those virtual courts. You can see some of them are there. They are still in office. You can see Honorable Chambia there. You can see Vincent Adet and Micheka. So all these officers have been trained to preside over these virtual courts and are conducting their proceedings in a very orderly manner. I'm happy also to report that all courts and registries have been enabled with desktops to conduct their business as much as possible virtually, all via emails. The only post I will I will state here is that there are a few challenges here and there on answering mails, but which we think we will surmount as time go by. In that regard, with the recommendations from the Civil Committee, during this period, the Civil Committee has recommended that 80% of the civil cases can be done virtually. And that one I can attest that 80% of the civil cases can be done virtually. The remaining physical appearances in court, if you are to be called to come to court, as Chairman Nyabena has said, we are not likely to see in future a situation where you come to court with an intention of adjourning. That one we are not likely to allow. So the new norm will be, if you come to court physically, be ready with your witness, we'll proceed. For the criminal courts, where matters will be heard virtually, this will be done. That one has been recommended by the Criminal Committee. As we upscale the Criminal Division and the Criminal Bench Committee have formulated steps, and I thank Council Kemo on this one. He has been very, very, very helpful. They have formulated steps to be followed in order to hear matters physically in court. In the coming days, there will be a rollout on how criminal matters will proceed in an orderly manner with social distancing being observed. All courts have been marked, and all courts have been marked on the capacity of human personnel who can join those courts, as I've said at a go. Back to the civil courts, I'm happy to report that for the Chief Magistrate Civil Division, we have sorted all matters which were affected since March and which do not have dates. From next week, and actually I'm happy to report, this exercise started this week. All those cases are to be cost-listed and the directions given virtually. You will be seeing our course list from this Friday. Each of the civil courts, as we have introduced a new concept called taking personal responsibility. Each of the all the civil courts, they now know how many cases that they are which were affected during this period. And they will personally list those matters for directions virtually. So we expect Chairman Nyabena, you will be seeing our course list, and we will be moving forward in that manner. As to physical appearance in court, after all pre-trials in cases, after all pre-trials have been done, then we can organize for appearance in court if possible. But we encourage lawyers. This is now a situation where you also need to be, you need to assist your clients. If, for example, we can have civil matters for the statements filed, documents filed, if we can adopt and proceed to the next level, we will have done the best. Mombasa Court will continue issuing course lists 7 days in advance, copied, of course, to the Kenya Law platform, the Mombasa Law Society platform, and all other platforms to address the issue of the missing link. There is this story about the missing link. Where is this link? People are being called every morning, where is hii link imepotea wapi? Jamani, hii link iko wapi? We have addressed the issue of the missing links with the ICT committee from this Friday, today. Each judicial officer will have a unique link which will be sustained for at least a month. So the issue of missing links will be a thing of the past. There will be continuous training of the court staff on continuous use of ICT. The ICT officers and the Mombasa Court Users ICT Committee will be reactivated and very active on this one. We intend to do joint trainings between the court and our court users. Any new products, as Commissioner Deja said, which has to be introduced, we'll have to test it before we roll it out. I am happy to report that the Mombasa Law Society is by far ahead on acceptability of the virtual courts. And I thank the Mombasa Law Society for that. Actually, we are by far ahead of others. They've embraced this one in no time without much resistance. Thank you. Thank you so much. Then in order to leverage on the gains made on the ICT front, all registries will now have specific personnel to answer to emails, to reply on the retrieval of files, and answer queries raised in the Google Forms, which we have introduced. I've had a time to query those Google Forms. Because of the backlog that we've had, the staff have been overwhelmed, but I think as we move to the future, it is going to work. Our court users will also we have introduced a feedback form. When you attend a virtual court, you can leave us a feedback, how your experience was in that virtual court. Did that court start in good time? Challenges on connectivity, courtesy, and what have you. Besides Mombasa Court, we have introduced unique emails for all the registries. At this point in time, there is only one thing which I will urge. We intend to introduce a form for what we call complaints and compliments. Don't dwell on complaints so much. Kindly, if you have new ideas, we are amenable to new ideas. Collins can tell you some of the things we've introduced we never imagined. Some of the gains we will have made in ICT, Collins had that vision. But at one point in time, Chairman Yabena, you can swear here that it was shut down. But now this is the time we need to move forward. If there are new ideas from the lawyers, if there are new ideas from the court users, we are amenable to change. In order to not to lock out the poor and the indigent, and this is quite significant, who cannot access the virtual platforms, the ICT team has developed what they call Wi-Fi points. They have created some Wi-Fi points at the court where indigent litigants and poor litigants will be assisted to access courts virtually. And shortly, we are going to upgrade on this one. I will also wish to report that there is massive drive to have contacts from you, that is email addresses, and the phones, so that communication is in real time, and that information can be relayed to our court users to avoid physical contact as much as possible. The final thing I will wish to address at this point in time is that, as you are aware, in the online launch in Nairobi by the Honorable the Chief Justice and the President of the Supreme Court, he promised that Mombasa Court will be the next court to go online. The Judicial Administration in Mombasa, in conjunction with Mombasa Law Society, we are working so closely to ensure that when we hit the ground running on issues online, we need to address these issues fast enough so that complaints do not clog us. At the court level, there is being done, we are doing with the ICT on what we call the needs, what the needs and wants, the infrastructural needs, the human personnel we may require to ensure that when we go online, we will not have challenges. We will also, we will be embarking, we'll be training jointly with our court users as we roll out. Again, as I've said, I will wish for your cooperation on this one. Finally, Presiding Judge, my Lord, I wish to thank all the court users who have continued to support us during this journey. And I say we hope for a better tomorrow. Mombasa Court, where technology meets justice. Thank you, my Lord. So at this point, I'll seek to invite the presiding judge. You can make your comments, and you take us through the next step. Welcome, my Lord.